We are about to see a massive boom of new hardcore extraction looter shooters in 2023. And not just on PC, some of the most anticipated upcoming games of this genre are about to release on console as well. Up until this year, this genre has been almost exclusively for PC gamers. And to be clear, I'm not talking about regular looter shooters like The Division or Destiny. In an extraction looter shooter, you basically have an instanced open map, usually where players will drop down and attempt to loot, filling their backpacks with rare materials and mission items while trying to make their way to an exfiltration with everything that they've obtained along the way. If you die, you lose everything, all that you came in with and any progress that you might have gained while you were on the map. We're talking about games like The Cycle Frontier, Marauders, Hunt Showdown, Vigor, and of course the godfather of the genre, Daddy Tarkov.
That's about it.
And yeah, that was about it. Until November, when we just got a brand new extraction experience with Call of Duty's DMZ. This was notably the first attempt in the genre by a AAA dev team. Now, regardless of DMZ's success over the long term, the floodgates have been open for other AAA teams to get their share of the pie. Similar to what we saw with the Battle Royale boom a few years ago, this hardcore and more tactical genre follows the current trend of gaming attention, with players wanting more than just mindless PvP these days. Which brings us to our first game that I want to talk about. Ubisoft blew us away when we saw this.
Hey everyone, we're so excited to show you Heartland, an all-new standalone adventure in the Division universe. The teams poured their heart into this game, and we can't wait to share it with you. Welcome to Silver Creek.
Announced just a few months ago, here is everything that we currently know about the Division Heartland. So this is going to be an upcoming free-to-play third-person shooter that will feature familiar gunplay, damage systems, and overall third-person gameplay of a typical Division game, but in the format of an extraction looter shooter. Developed by Red Storm Entertainment and published by Ubisoft as a standalone spin-off set in the Division universe. Heartland is going to be one of the first games in the genre to make its way onto PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Windows, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, and Amazon Luna through cloud gaming. The game was actually first set to launch all the way back in 2021 and be developed by Massive Entertainment, but they were wrapped up with the continued development of Division 2 and the next Ubisoft big release of Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora. Heartland's development ended up being handed over to Red Storm, who also helped in some aspects of the previous two games, but unlike the Division 1 and 2, this game is set in Silver Creek, a rural town in the American Northwest. The player once again assumes control of an agent from the Division that is sent to Silver Creek to help ones in need. Heartland features two major game modes. The first mode is called Storm Operation. It's a PvPvE mode where a max of 45 players drop in and must fend off against agents from a rogue faction known as the Vultures, while surviving a virus. The second mode is named Excursion Operations. This one is PvE only, for those not looking for as much of a competitive environment. In this mode, players can complete missions and collect gear that I would assume should be usable across both modes. At launch, the game is going to feature 3 character classes and 6 playable characters. What those 3 classes are, we don't really know yet, but having played the Division 1 and 2, it's likely there's going to be some type of healer class, a tank, and maybe a DPS build to focus on getting kills. Those are the most common ones that I can think of and are supporting and complementing roles for those playing in full squads. It also looks like from the gameplay there's going to be a player hub where you can team up with randos, accept missions and contracts, as well as visit traders. Now, to be honest, with everything that we've seen so far, it's unclear whether this game is going to have enough innovation to really perform long term. Over the last couple of years, it should be no surprise that Ubisoft has been struggling with little to no innovation, to the point where it's almost become a meme that Ubisoft games are just copy and paste. Whether it's Assassin's Creed, Ghost Recon Wildlands, or The Division, the model of go discover this new area, unlock some missions there, complete the missions there, then unlock another area, has kind of become their go-to in every game they put out, right? Division Heartland is going to be a massive opportunity for them to try and show off something new. In the extraction looter shooter genre, we've yet to see a solid foundation for class play, where each player in the squad has a specific role that's going to determine how they're going to perform in the toughest missions or against other squads. So I am excited to see what the Division would look like when it boinks Tarkov and makes a baby, but weary at the same time because it's Ubisoft. Now, as for the exact release date, signs show that they are getting close, as we already have the game being rated, and we just got an update from Insider Gaming revealing that Ubisoft does have plans to launch Heartland sometime during the fiscal year of 2024, meaning that we're going to get to play sometime between April 2023 and March of 2024. But due to the lack of new titles coming out from Ubisoft as of late, it's likely they're going to try to get it out before the end of 2023. If you want a chance to play Heartland before the official launch date, I left you guys a link in the description where you can register for their upcoming closed beta tests. Now, the next game up is another powerhouse in the looter shooter space with Bungie. Also, for me, it's kind of important to mention that I genuinely value your attention. I appreciate you watching my content thus far. So I just wanted to say thanks. All of these upcoming releases, including this one from Bungie, will be followed closely on this channel. So if you want to stay up to date with new extraction looter shooters in 2023, take a moment to consider subscribing. Okay, that's enough prolonged eye contact. So, do you remember Bungie's first hit prior to Destiny, prior to Halo, from all the way back in 1994? Anyone? Anyone?
Bueller.
Okay, probably not. Marathon released the year that I was born, so I've never even played it myself. But according to another Insider Gaming article, link for that will also be in the description below, Bungie's currently revamping the series, but in the format of a Tarkov-like extraction looter shooter, where the player's objective will be to drop into a map with yet again a 3-man squad, which seems to be the golden number for teams in upcoming games in the genre. And with that squad, you'll choose a mission, buy and choose a loadout, hunt for loot, complete these missions, and then extract safely. To progress, Marathon takes place on a planet that was previously home to a human colony that vanished, with humans using highly customizable cyborgs called runners to gather loot, and the game is intended to be the ultimate example of a living game, so they say. Seasonal rewards and progression will be a huge part of this game, which isn't surprising, considering Bungie's success with the Destiny series and its live services. Now, while we still don't have any official gameplay, the concept is intriguing, especially if you try to imagine Destiny-style gameplay mixed with Tarkov, or a Cycle Frontier type of game loop. Now, because of Bungie's previous releases, I would expect Marathon to be available on both consoles and PC. Now, as for a release date without an official announcement from Bungie, all we know now is that CEO Pete Parsons said in 2019 that the studio will have another franchise release before 2025, which I really think is just a blanket statement as to not reveal all their cards and put the devs under pressure. I would not be surprised if we actually get a Marathon announcement pretty soon. And it's not impossible that that release date could be set for fiscal year 2024. It could potentially see at least a beta before the end of 2023. Now, the next game on our list, I gotta admit, I'm probably the least excited about. But before you just skip to the next game, let me explain why. So, Sega's entry into this extraction looter shooter genre is Hyenas. They're going for an animated sci-fi FPS where your team of, you guessed it, 3 players will fight against 4 other enemy crews, as well as ship security in an intense zero-gravity shootout to grab the biggest haul and get out alive. Now, they've ran a couple of alpha tests already, showcasing to those that played a world that is broken, and kind of like an Elon Musk fever dream, the billionaires have finally made it to Mars, leaving Earth and their tax loopholes behind. But then a disaster happens back on Earth due to zero-gravity tech that actually powered their journey there, so now the only thing that the rich care about is their rare merch and pop culture items looted from the ruins of Earth, which they buy for exorbitant amounts of money to furnish their mansions. The Hyenas, or players, are here to steal it back within huge spaceship shopping malls known as plunder ships, full of nostalgic goodies that are being shipped from Earth to Mars. It's up to you as a player among the other Hyenas that are uniquely skilled and armored to get in, get merch, and get out alive. Each plunder ship is a sandbox playground full of interlocking systems, creating endless opportunities to exploit the environment, security networks, hire goons, and so on to complete your objectives. So, in concept, the game does sound fun, but I just can't get past the visuals. And the overall atmosphere of the trailer, I'm getting heavy, hello fellow teenagers vibes. And for me, it's a bit of a turnoff. Now, I haven't had a chance to play it yet, but I've spoken with some in our community that have, and they've said it's a lot better than the trailer puts it out to be. So I'm keeping this one on my list for now, but I'm gonna need some substantial gameplay to keep my interest peaked as we move towards its release. Hyenas will be available sometime in 2023 on Xbox Series X, Xbox One, Windows, PlayStation 5, 4, and Steam. Now, if you want to get into their next playtest, the link for that is also in the description below. Now, the next 2 games currently have the most amount of hype around them, especially this next one, which we've already seen plenty of gameplay from. It's technically not an extraction looter shooter, only because there's no guns. I'm talking about Dark and Darker. This is the first entry into the Exfil genre that takes place in a medieval setting. There's been a couple playtests so far showcasing what to expect from this game, so the best way for me to describe Dark and Darker is a D&D style dungeon crawler extraction game where the gameplay looks and feels similar to something like Chivalry or Skyrim, but coupled with the gameplay loop of something like Tarkov. You pick from one of 6 familiar D&D style classes such as the Ranger, Fighter, Barbarian, Rogue, Cleric, or Mage. You get magic, you can lay traps, pick locks, throw containers, hack and bash, and stomp your way through the dungeons. With a squad size of 3 players. You'll face monsters, traps, and other players while you try to collect as much loot as you can and escape the swarm of parasites slowly closing in around the map by hopping through escape portals that pop up. Or if you're feeling confident, you can drop down to an even more terrifying and vastly more difficult dungeon that is much darker. Hence, Dark and Darker. Each map contains up to 16 players that you'll need to fight or avoid in order to survive and escape, and from the gameplay thus far, it looks a little clunky. The game mechanics and graphics kind of look like they were pulled from something straight out of the late 2000s, but in a way that could kind of be the fun of it. All the other games on our list are hardcore, fast-paced shooters with high-intensity combat. Darker and Darkest seems like it gives you more of a chance to slow it down and get a good change of pace to the genre. And this is the only upcoming title that we have on this list that already has vast amount of gameplay that you can go on YouTube right now and check out, giving you plenty of opportunity to look into it while you wait. Dark and Hadouken is slated for an end of 2023 release on PC, with the silver lining of them running free-to-play playtests once a month leading up to their launch. And the next one is coming up, so I left a link to their Steam page for you in the description below. Now, the final game on our list has the most hype centered around it, but it also has the highest amount of expectations that it could easily not live up to. Mainly because this is the first game to be developed by Midnight Society, Dr. Disrespect's new dev team. Now, if you have any familiarity with extraction looter shooters, you know that the doc has said he could do better.
There's just no f***ing audio. That's the vertical audio I'm talking about. There's nothing.
Which brings us to Dead Drop. Formerly known as Project Moon, Dead Drop is a vertical extraction shooter, which we're going to talk about more in a second, and it combines arena shooter level design with the scale and scope of a battle royale, and the strategic minute-to-minute gameplay of an extraction shooter. You'll compete for the best drops or extract with your life and gear. Now, for the vertical gameplay, after 40 years into the climate wars, population and pollution levels skyrocket. Cities erect massive refiner states, mega structures built to extract toxins from the stratosphere. These towers are self-governed city-states with only one export: space dust. The movie Dune is in my chocolatey drink. Several factions compete against the occupying force of cleaners who operate the refiner state in a never-ending struggle for resources and gear. So instead of the typical format of any FPS shooter, not just extraction looters, where you have a large, wide horizontal map, every match here is going to take place in a tower that is more than likely going to have enemy players and AI spawning below and above you, making the PvP pretty unique. Now, there's no official release date yet for Dead Drop, but it's rumored to launch towards the end of 2023 on Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. Right now, the only way that you can play Dead Drop is pretty unique too. Only gamers that have purchased a Founders Access Pass when they were available are able to participate in the earlier builds of the game. Now, they only created 10,000 of these Founder Passes, and they've made it clear that they're not going to make any more. So basically, they're an NFT. Anybody who currently owns a pass can sell online for pretty much whatever they want. Now, the gameplay that you're looking at here is from the most recent build, not under NDA, and I gotta be honest, it does look a little janky. So as soon as we have new gameplay and more info about Dead Drop or any of the games that we've talked about, I will keep you guys updated. For now, the newest release that we have of a hardcore extraction shooter is Marauders. If you haven't seen what this game is about yet, I highly recommend that you check it out. See you there.